Well, the Monsters and Memories team just dropped a whole pile of balance changes, and I have some thoughts. Some of them are good, and some of them are concerning. And at least one of them has me looking up to the digital heavens and actively thinking, Rel, that I made the incredibly wise life choice to play a druid. Let's start with the easy stuff. The developers have announced a sweeping adjustment to the pacing of mid-level progression. They've stated that they want combat levels at 20 and 30 to feel much more like combat at level 45 and above. Slower, more dangerous, more thoughtful by engaging the use of damage over time spells and debuffs. And to accomplish that, they are significantly increasing enemy health scaling per level. This may sound concerning for some. Fights are going to take longer, mana might get tight, and you can bet your butt that your group's healer most definitely is gonna type OOM into the party chat, which is the universal MMO code for we're all about to meet our ancestors in 30 seconds or less. In theory, I like this. As a druid, I'm excited to get more bang for my buck out of my dots. It sounds like crowd control will matter more. We'll actually have to make room on that impossibly limited spell bar for a debuff or two. And as I mentioned, my damage over time spells actually get enough time to do, well, damage over time. If enemies live long enough for strategy to matter, that's a good thing. Next up, we have to talk about stat changes. And the developers have laid out some major adjustments to how your character's cerebral fortitude actually translates into dominance on the battlefield. It's really the first time I've noticed a clear declaration of how stats work. So if I'm stacking intelligence, I can expect my damage spells to hit harder. If I'm stacking wisdom, I can expect my heals to be stronger. That feels completely, entirely intuitive. I'm generally a fan of stats doing obvious things. The developers have also changed something about level-based physical damage scaling. Now, I read this section 3 times, and all I learned was that I apparently don't understand level-based physical damage scaling. Something about hidden damage, something about weapon DPS ratios, something about soft caps, and somehow monks got involved. I don't know. If you understand this section, congratulations. You can explain it to me in the comments. Now let's talk about the part that made me sit up in my chair. Outdoor danger. The developers basically looked at players frolicking in the countryside and said, absolutely not. This is not the sound of music. If these hills are alive, they are alive with the sounds of people being chased quickly to their deaths. They're nerfing Lull, they're making stealth less reliable, NPCs are getting ranged abilities, NPCs are getting slows, NPCs are getting dispels, NPCs are getting ways to counter movement speed buffs, and eventually, NPCs are getting faster. Much faster. Now, philosophically, I understand what they're trying to do. Monsters and Memories is trying to make the world more dangerous, as intended. Holding is supposed to matter. Positioning is supposed to matter. Having the right combination of classes in your group is supposed to matter. I get it. But here's where I start to get incredibly nervous. Because with these changes, movement speed buffs are slowly drifting away from nice-to-have territory and firmly planting their flags in required for basic survival territory. And those are two very different things. As a druid, casting Speed of the Wild should feel awesome. It should feel powerful. It should make you crack a giant smile when a friendly player buffs you with it in the wild. But if every single NPC in the zone is getting faster, getting slows, getting dispels, getting more tools to actively punish your movement, then Speed of the Wild completely stops being a fun, nice-to-have buff. It becomes a tax. it becomes a mandatory toll you feel forced to pay every single time you set foot outside the city gates. And whenever a buff becomes completely mandatory, I think it's worth paying serious attention to, because history shows us that players don't usually celebrate mandatory. Players celebrate options. Now again, I'm not saying the sky is falling. I'm just saying this is exactly the kind of well-intentioned balance change that can accidentally create a world where every single group demands a movement buff class. Not because it's fun, or cool, or engaging, but because life without one has been made miserable. That is a subtle difference, but it is a massive, vitally important one. Now, the Lull Changes are another area I expect strong opinions. Honestly, these are huge nerfs. Shorter range, shorter duration, longer recast, level caps, no irresistible versions, no AoE versions. This is one of those moments where I can already hear two completely different groups of players typing in the comments. The first group is saying, finally, pullers matter again. And the second group is saying, so how exactly am I supposed to break camps now? And honestly, both groups have a point. The changes absolutely make traditional pulling classes more viable. That's clearly the goal. The question is whether the pendulum swings too far. But that's what testing is for. And that's the thing I want people to remember. These aren't final systems. This isn't launch. This isn't even open beta. This is exactly why closed beta exists. Some of these changes might be fantastic, and some might need tuning. We won't know until we test, and what's great about these changes is that we now have something concrete to test. And whether you completely love these changes or you absolutely hate them with the burning passion of 1,000 suns, your next step is exactly the same. Log in, play the game, actively try to break them. See what feels genuinely good, see what feels utterly terrible. Share your feedback, have real discussions, and compare your experiences. Because the ultimate goal here isn't about winning an internet argument or proving that we are right. The goal is to help the developers make a significantly better game. And honestly, if you step back and think about it, this is the fun part. This is the absolute peak of the journey. Getting to watch these complex systems evolve in real time, watching wild ideas get actively tested on live servers, and getting to watch an entire community link arms and help shape exactly what Monsters and Memories eventually becomes, well, it's a beautiful collaborative mess, and we have a front row seat. So let me know down in the comments below which of these changes worries you the most, and which exact one are you most excited to get out there and test. The changes should go live when this video drops, so let's talk about it. Until next time, keep exploring, and may your movement buffs remain undispelled. I'll see you in the next world.